In this video, I want to talk to you about understanding the unique features of this new type of digital computing solution. I'm going to read from this and then we'll pick up from there. It's not downloadable software in any traditional sense, but your data is independent from that of others like software, and it does what software does for you. It's designed to be cloud-based, but your data is not shared and mined with others comparably situated like it is with software as a service, also known as SaaS. It's far more private than SaaS solutions and can be a lot more private than software if desired. What these Zap accounting software spreadsheet templates represent, cloud-based spreadsheet templates represent, is a dramatically different third option for digital computing that individuals and small businesses have not seen prior to now, not at this level. It's one thing to have shared a Google Sheet that had a lot of spreadsheet functionality in it. These templates are built out with a level of database organization, database style organization, which makes them extremely unique at this point in time. What I want to do is open up this link here, and I'm going to show you. It's not active, so we're going to have to copy it and paste it into a browser to get it open, and I'll change that on the website. This is a matrix that tries to help you compare what it is. Well, let's see if I can zoom in some. Okay. We've got traditional software in the first column, software as a service in the second column, Zap's cloud spreadsheet templates in the third, and then comments about Zap templates here. So when we talk about downloadable, traditional software, yes, always, that's what it is. Software as a service, no. Sometimes there is a downloaded component to it, but that's rarer and rarer these days and less desirable. Zap cloud spreadsheets, downloadable, yes, comma, kind of. They're not really downloaded. You copy them from one cloud drive to another. So to you and to us, it's going to seem like you're downloading them, or conceptually you are, but in fact what you're doing is making a copy of a cloud-based file. To that extent, you could in fact download them as a spreadsheet file. So in that regard, it's yes as well. Native cloud access, traditional software, no. Software as a service, yes. And Zap cloud spreadsheets, yes. Obviously, if you use them as spreadsheets, it would be no. And these could be cloud accessible if you set up some kind of remote access to them, like as some people have to do with QuickBooks when it's on their desktop. They'll use a remote access system such that they can get to it. Self-installing traditional software, yes, you typically download and either installs itself or you hit an executable and it installs. Software as a service, yes, or NA. NA is really more applicable. Usually you create a user account and away you go. There's no installation required because it's all running on cloud-based servers. And Zap cloud software, self-installing, kind of and no. The reason I say kind of is that, for example, with the bookkeeping template, if you download or make a copy of the bookkeeping template and put it on your Google Drive, nothing else is required to do the core portion of bookkeeping with that template. The scripts and the Google script projects that we connect add functionality to it, but without those, it's still a fully functional accounting system. So that's why I put kind of and no. The no part is that you will have to manually connect the script projects if you want the full functionality built in. This drawback has privacy benefits. That's the big benefit of this, is your privacy. Your privacy. Keep thinking about that. What they've done with software as a service, they being the large corporations and global controllers, is they have aggregated commercial users into what I call data silos. Then they can pay the software vendors for all kinds of mined information. I don't know the exact level of detail, but I'm pretty confident it gets pretty granular. Auto updating. Traditional software typically has an auto update feature, or you click update and it goes and gets it and does it. Software as a service, just by default, because it's running on cloud servers, just gets updated when the vendor updates it. This is not auto updating in any way, shape, or form. Not at all. You get your template, you're disconnected from us. As soon as you get that template, it is a standalone file. And any changes that we make the moment after you download your template would never reflect in the file. You'll either have to manually incorporate those changes or download a new copy. This drawback has privacy benefits. Data transfer for new versions. So in other words, if I do want a new version of the software, does the software do a data transfer? This is yes. Typically, traditional software will convert your data over. Software as a service, this is traditionally yes. With ours, it's no, not at all, because you're just getting a new spreadsheet template. You would have to manually copy and paste your data from one to another. Again, a drawback, but less privacy if it did, and many of our templates are very mature. So what we mean by this is for most small business users and individuals, what we have now that's published will suffice. Any changes we make to most of them, I shouldn't say most of them, to the bookkeeping template for now, and to some of the other ones, should be very minimal. Open code source, also referred to as open source. No, not typically. No, not typically. And yes, in other words, you can see every single move that's made in this software from a programming perspective. It's great for technology education and customization. Customizable. No, limited. No, or limited, and unlimited. Just because it's open source does not mean in all cases that it's customizable. Now, sometimes they'll let you view the source, but it's locked down. You couldn't change it. Likewise, just because it's closed source doesn't mean it's not customizable. They can build in all kinds of features to do that. Our combination of the open source customization makes it great for user needs, exceptional, better than anything you can get over here. Subject to software bloat. Yes, always. Yes, always. No, never. A huge advantage for these templates and DIY software in general. This is probably one of the biggest features that people come to appreciate after they use the templates is once they get it set up the way they like it, they could change the colors, they can change the fonts, they could change the reports, they could change the data presentation. Once they get it the way they want it, that's it. There's no developer, there's no new employee at some software company that comes in that wants to make a big splash and change the graphics or change the buttons or change the words or change the navigation. This is a massive feature for those who have been dealing with commercial software for the past 20 years and are constantly chasing new versions of software when they were just very content with the old software. Cost and then cost per instance. Obviously, there was $1 per version. There were dollars for upgrades. Some of them might have been freemium models where it was free and then you paid for the premium features. And then there's typically dollars per instance. So most of the time, if you want to run 2 or 3 copies, you may or may not have been able to do that depending on what it was. Some of the downloaded software, I guess you could have multiple files. So in that case, there wasn't dollars per instance. The software as a service is oftentimes it's low cost monthly, but when you look at over the period of a year or lifetime, it's extremely pricey, much more so than the downloadable version was. And then you also typically have a cost per instance. So if you need multiple copies of that software, it's typically quite pricey. With the Zap Cloud Spreadsheets, free for life and unlimited copies. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Data storage and access after use is complete. One of the big problems that commercial users have is maybe they're in some business, I don't know, contracting or cutting hair or chiropractic for a period of years, and they need to take off then. They need to take a break. There's a change in their family status. There's a change in their location. And what happens to the data? In traditional software, typically you could let it sit. It's on your PC or Mac or Chrome, or a PC or Mac rather, or even a Unix box. And the software, you could probably upload it or reload it on new computers for 3, 5, 7, 9 years, and it'll probably work. Eventually, you may have problems with it. Software as a service, this is a big issue. As soon as you're done with the solution, oftentimes when you terminate your use, they'll terminate your data. You can download it, but in raw form, you can't do anything without the screens that they use to present it to you. Other times you can pay small fees for them to allow you the data access ongoing for life. There's a monthly fee that adds up for life. When you have 10 or 20 applications, this gets pricey and expensive and complex. With the Zap accounting templates, it's never an issue. These are just spreadsheets. They're all done in Google Sheets, and in theory, they should be good for many, many, many years. Obviously, you can also download them in spreadsheets and use them in standalone spreadsheets, and the equations should never be changed to the point where the interface becomes non-usable. And on privacy, some but no guarantees. With private software, traditional software, you had probably a pretty good promise for privacy. It doesn't mean that they couldn't have come in and uploaded data during their downloads. You'd have to look at their user agreements. But it was pretty well thought that you had some privacy. This is excluding the largest of our internet service providers and routing providers who may have been eavesdropping on all kinds of stuff. But we're talking at a rudimentary level or at a basic level. With software as a service, you have little to no privacy, and worse than that, your data is aggregated with others. Other like users for data mining. It is a data mining bonanza for these vendors. They can make a killing mining your data and then selling the results of that mined data to the largest companies and governments and anybody who can afford to pay them for it. With the Zap spreadsheets, privacy, some, and the only reason I write some instead of not great is that we're designed to do this on Google Drive. As far as I'm concerned, your Google Drive is about as private as your PC or anything else. Some people may disagree with me. The beautiful part about this is your data is not aggregated with like users. So in that sense, it's much more like this software. It's not like this at all. And the real benefit with this is that if you get to using this, you really like it, and you need greater privacy, you can download these Google Sheet templates into spreadsheets and get the greater level of privacy than probably you were getting with your traditional software, and have a functional solution. So I hope this helps with a matrix to give you an idea of what you're getting into, what you're looking at, what some of the pros and cons of it are. And a lot of it revolves around the user benefits the most from this. The reason that nobody has commercialized anything like this prior is primarily because there's not a lot of money in it. That's the key. So we've missed out on a lot of great computing due to a lack of financial incentive for those who were best positioned to provide us these digital solutions. The cloud-based spreadsheets have opened up a new opportunity, and we've taken them, created some fantastic tools, and we hope you enjoy them.